sick and tired of people yapping online. I know it's hard to believe that I'm saying that, but, you know, at least when I'm yapping, I'm funny. I be cracking jokes. I make people laugh. But some of these people that be yapping online non-stop consistently, they're so serious, bro. Like, you look at their face and they're just serious. And they're just speaking utter BS, bro. Like, we're going to be reacting to this video of Vanessa Tsehaye. Not Vanessa Tsehaye, Vanessa Tsehaye. Because that's what I be thinking every single time she makes a video, bro. Tsehaye. Why? You know? Tsehaye. Why are you making the video? Now, to be fair, I do actually agree with what she's saying, the overall message of this video. No war in Eritrea, Ethiopia. We don't want another war. I agree with that message 100%. But I just don't like the fact that she's making this video and trying to act like that she doesn't want a war in Eritrea and that Eritrea are also trying to ask for this war. Especially considering the fact that her whole brand and identity basically overthrown the Eritrean leader. That's literally her brand, bro. So we will be reacting to this video. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. And yeah, let's go ahead and watch this.
We cannot afford another war between Eritrea and Ethiopia. Today, Bloomberg published this piece saying that both Eritrea and Ethiopia are deploying troops close to the Eritrean border. Getting this kind of evidence is the most terrifying indicator that we could have that this might be happening soon. The Ethiopian government would not act in the way that it does if it didn't have a significant amount of support from its people. And the Eritrean government...
Bro, not even just a significant amount of support from its people. A significant amount of support from people like you who go and make it their whole personality and speak shit about the Eritrean government. Now, I'm not here to say they're perfect, bro, but I've heard how she speaks about them, bro. Like, she clearly has a bias against the Eritrean government, and you can tell when you listen to her speak.
The Eritrean government and the TPLF also need to back off and not be like, yes, you're trying to fight us, we'll fight you back. No, 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 no.
Who? Sorry. This is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, Eritreans don't want this war. The Eritrean government don't want this war. The reason that this war is happening because Ethiopia consistently is saying that they want to take Assad port. They're going to take Assad port by force. This war in particular, though, with Tigray, Tigrayans don't even want it. The TPLF politicians have been fragmented. The Tigrayans don't even want it. They're arguing that the Ethiopian government have G-sided their people. They're out here trying to defend themselves. So the Eritreans and the Tigrayans don't want this war. The Ethiopian government want the whole control of Tigray. They want it under federal government control. And this is exactly what I be saying, bro. She just be yapping, bro. She just be lying, like.
No matter how hard you fight, and no matter how hard the Ethiopian side fight, everybody will lose. No one is going to win this war. This will devastate our countries.
Bruh, just...
The poorest and the weakest of all of our regions who will suffer in this war. They are the ones who are going to die on the front lines. Abiy Ahmed said himself, we have countless people in the periphery who can fight for us in this war. The people advocating for war right now, Abiy, his ministers, the diaspora, people in Addis Ababa are not the one who are going to suffer. The people pushing Isaiah saying, yes, fight them off, kill them off, are not the ones...
Bro, who is pushing Isaiah, bro? Who is pushing Isaiah? Seriously, let's be real. Isaiah's like 80 years old, bro. Come on, man. No one's pushing him, bro. You're really going to be pushing Abahagwe like that? I don't know what neighborhood you came from, but where I'm from, we don't go around pushing Abahagwes, bro. We don't go around and push our elders around, bro. Okay? We show some damn respect over here. No, but in all seriousness, though, like, bro, no one is, like, pressuring Isaiah to go to war, bro. The Eritrean government are not calling for this war to happen, bro. They're literally making it clear that, yo, if you're trying to invade Eritrea, trying to take over Assad, we're going to defend the sovereignty. That's it. In terms of Tigray, Tigrayans don't want it. The Tigrayans don't want it either.
That's just the short-term implications. The people who are going to die, get injured, get traumatized for fighting a war to what? Keep a man in power? That's it. This war has nothing to do with sea access. Somaliland offered Ethiopia free sea access. He said no. But the long-term effects of how a potential war between Eritrea and Ethiopia is going to play out is going to affect not just the two countries, but the entire region. There are proxy powers at play here that are already playing out in Sudan.
Yes, I've been saying this. There's proxies, foreign countries intervening in the regional politics. I've been saying this for years. But this woman in particular, she's just been making videos. Just saying, oh, it's all Eritrea's fault. Eritrea, you know, everything's Eritrea's fault. They're the bad guys. I've been saying for years, there's multiple different foreign entities that are literally trying to influence the region. It's only now when they're about to go to war, then she's suddenly clicked onto that, fam. Bro, you know what I'm saying? It just doesn't make sense, fam.
The way it's going to spill over to Eritrea and Ethiopia, I don't think we understand that the future of our region depends on if this war happens or not. That's how serious it is. We need an anti-war movement from Eritreans and Ethiopians.
Bro, listen, she can't lead this shit, bro, because she's basically been warmongering the whole time, fam. Not necessarily like calling for direct conflict and that, but every single time she goes to the UN or any of these other, like, you know, foreign media platforms and just complains about the Eritrean government and how bad they are and like how, you know, the regime needs to get overthrown and shit, you are basically like giving a testimony and a justification for people like Abiy Ahmed or the Ethiopian government to go in and invade, because they're like, oh shit, we want sea access, we want control of Eritrea. And it's okay because even their people don't want the leader in charge. You get it? They use your voice as a testimony. They use it as a justification. So definitely not, bro. You cannot lead this movement, bro. I don't think she should be leading this movement. If there is one, I can't lie to you, bro.
Have to come together and say no war. No matter what they say, these governments need support of their people to do anything. In Ethiopia, they're lucky. They have many different people, right? So they can get support from different segments of society depending on who their target is. But we all need to come together, no matter who you are in Ethiopia. If you care about the future of Ethiopia, if you care about the future of the Horn of Africa, if you care...
Ethiopia's fragmented. They got loads of people, 100%. They do have a nationality of Ethiopian, but a lot of it is just regional tribalism, bro. Amhara region, Oromo region, the Tigray region, the Afar region, Somali region. Yeah, they're all Ethiopian under the flag. I'm not saying they can't like coordinate or whatever, but yeah, like there's infighting amongst the country in itself, innit? So I don't think it's just as simple as all of these guys coming together and getting support.
If you care about Sudan, about Eritrea, about Tigray, you need to come together and say no war. We will not survive another war. That's how serious this is. And I think seeing it in the media and understanding how close we are getting to a potential war happening and not getting a reaction from our people, it is so disappointing. We need to be out on the streets saying no war.
She really said with a straight face, no war. Let's come out onto the streets and advocate for no war. When her whole brand, like I said before, is to try and overthrow the Eritrean government and destabilize the country. That's literally her whole brand. So even though I do agree with the message of there should be no war between Eritrea and Ethiopia and Tigray and whatever, the messenger is like not it, bro. The messenger like is a hypocrite, because again, every single time she goes on like any sort of foreign media platform, it's always to shit on the country of Eritrea, the government, and saying, oh yeah, they're involved in this. They're the ones warmongering. They need to stop the violence or whatever. And it's always putting blame onto the Eritrean government and never like onto anyone else, fam. When she is putting blame onto Ethiopia and saying, you know what, yeah, these guys are being the aggressors in this situation, she'll still try and make it seem like the Eritrean government are still somehow the bad guy in the situation.
War isn't a game. War isn't a TV show that you put on and then you go back to sleep. War affects people right now and affects the future of our region. Our region has been completely defined by war. Our people deserve a chance to live and thrive. We cannot keep doing this.
I agree. Again, I agree with what she's saying. She needs to understand the history. Our region as a whole has been plagued for hundreds of years due to its geographic location, right next to the Red Sea Canal route. Not to mention the fact that the region's proximity to the Middle East, countries like Saudi Arabia, Israel, Iran, makes it incredibly valuable to have control of that region, which incentivizes consistent violence. Not to factor in that tribalism and, you know, historical beefs and whatever. But again, like I said, every single time you go to these foreign news channels, you go to the UN, start complaining and talking bad about the government, they sanction the country. They use your testimony as a justification to sanction the country, make it economically weaker, make it more vulnerable and susceptible to invasion because they're unable to bring in certain military equipment. It makes them more of a target for threats of invasion and acts of violence purely because they're unable to bring in certain weapons because they got a weapons embargo ban on them. Like, and this is because of people like you. So unironically, you going around saying, oh, we can't have war, stop the war. You are part of this problem. You and many of these other people are part of the problem.
If we don't actually speak out to say no war, we play a part too. Because these governments need us to do anything. The Eritrean government have their supporters, the TPLF have their supporters, the Ethiopian government have their supporters. Without the support network, they cannot survive, they cannot exist. It's up to us to speak out, to come together and say no war. If you even pretend to care about the interest of your people, whatever that might look like for you, you need to say no war.
But like I said, nobody really wants a war. But when you got people such as her who make it their whole brand and personality to basically insinuate like some sort of action against the Eritrean government. Not necessarily, she doesn't call for it, but every single time she's saying free Eritrea or, you know, the Eritrean government are this and it's so bad and blah, blah, blah. You're basically incentivizing that shit, right? You can have your opinion on like, you know, policies or whatever, it is what it is. But there's no way you can act like this righteous hero and say, oh, no war. Yeah, I don't want a warmonger. When you and many other people testimonies are being used as justification So let me know if you agree or disagree with me in the comment section down below.